Hi, I'm Samantha Skey with She Knows Media. In 3 steps, a social media strategy for startups would begin with identifying your value proposition in a very short phrase. You can't use a lot of words in social media. You will lose your user. So define your value proposition, which must be differentiated in a very short sentence. The shorter the better, as long as you're able to define it. That's step 1. Step 2 is to find your advocates. So find the people who are passionate clients, customers who love your business, even if there are only 3 of them, and give them, first of all, give them equity in your business, even if it's just a little bit. Make sure they feel like they have an ownership stake, and then give them 10 jobs to do in sharing content through their own social media, inviting people into an offline and an online community. And then step 3 is to look at your data and your analytics every minute of every day, because there is so much to be learned, and it's only through watching the cycle of social engagement that you really find the trends and find your own optimal behavior from your customer. So I'd say the data is number 3, number 2 is advocates, number 1 is clear, distinctive value. So how do you produce a social media content strategy that is shareable? So deep content, so long form content is very rarely shared through social. You might tell somebody about an article, you might email it, so it might be shared through a non-social platform. Like I might email an article to 2 friends. That's a typical behavior. It is very unusual for people to share content on social that is long form. So a long video will not be shared. A long article, a long point of view is, unless it's a blog and unless you have a very specific following, that will not be shared at high volume. So to be shared, you have to be short. You have to be very crisp. You have to get a user's attention within the first 3 seconds. So if I'm not interested within 3 seconds, I will probably abandon the content. I will probably leave. So you have to generate interest within 3 seconds. You will know your own personality as a business. You're probably more utility driven and service. So you need to make sure that what you're giving the user as a service is of great value and is very relevant. It's not something that they have, it's not advice they've already heard 20 times, but it's something new and it's in a new voice. That can be backed up by more traditional service models. Then the other, if you want to, I think being funny is actually useful, or being a little more casual at times, as long as you maintain professionalism, just to show that you're a human. Because most people don't want to share content that sounds too traditional or too corporate. They want to share content that seems personal, that seems unique, that has a point of view. It's rare that you would share a press release, for example, that's from a corporation. You'd be much more likely to share a piece of provocative content that the CEO posted to Twitter because it has a point of view. So I think having a point of view that blends humor, utility, and then inspiration is usually the right answer for most companies. It's just the proportion of each type is what you need to figure out. What proportion is useful, what proportion is funny, and what proportion is inspiring. Well, I would say if you have customers who use the internet, you should have a digital strategy. So it doesn't, meaning unless I don't know who you're serving who doesn't use the internet, but it's if you want customers, so who should use digital marketing? What companies should use digital marketing? Companies who want customers and whose customers use the internet. Those are the only 2 criteria. If you meet those 2 criteria, you should, as a company, have a digital strategy. You don't have to be a tech company. If you are a retail company, you sell clothing, that is a great type company profile for social distribution or for audience engagement, those people might buy you online. If you say, I don't have e-commerce, that's fine. You can tell them where your store is. You can talk to them about how to find your store, what kinds of styles you have. If your product is woven baskets, you still have to sell it somewhere. And in order to find that customer, the most efficient way to find the customer is within digital media. It's just, that's where the data lives. It's the cheapest. So I can't think of an instance in which a company would not embrace digital marketing of some sort. It doesn't mean you need to use every social platform. Many companies should not use Pinterest. It won't make any sense. If you don't have a very highly visual product, you probably don't need Pinterest. So, but using some type of digital home base, a place where you can collect data, respond to questions, even if it's just a blog, it is a necessary strategy.